Tonight in Paris, the lights dance. Bridges glow, towers sparkle, and streets hum with electric life. But 3,000 kilometers away, in the endless desert of Niger, darkness swallows villages, and the fire that fuels France's brilliance sleeps under African soil. 1/3 of France's nuclear power, the heartbeat of its cities, comes from uranium dug from Niger's earth.
Uranium. This element sits at the very end of the periodic table. It's a heavy metal, dense and potent. We know it best for its role in nuclear power. Uranium fuels the reactors that generate electricity for millions. But how does it work? How do we go from digging up ore to powering our homes with this element? Understanding uranium is crucial. It holds a key to our energy future, for better or for worse.
This is La Centrale Nucléaire de Gravelines, France's largest nuclear power plant and the 6th largest in the world. Nestled along the northern coast, its 6 reactors generate 70% of the nation's electricity and powers the equivalent of some 27 million households annually. With 57 reactors operating across 18 facilities, it generates 475 terawatt-hours of electricity per year, making it Europe's largest exporter of electricity. Each year, France's surplus energy flows to neighboring countries, earning the economy 3 billion euros in revenue.
Yet here in Niger, most homes have no electricity. The wires carry light away, but never bring it back. The Tuareg people once called it Akal Iderin, the sleeping fire. They warned that to awaken it was to invite both wealth and war. To touch it without blessing was to curse the land. But the warnings faded when the world discovered that this fire could power nations or destroy them. In the 1950s, when Niger was still under French colonial rule, prospectors struck glowing dust in the sands of Arlit. Contracts were signed in Paris, not Niamey. The mines were opened not for Niger's progress, but for the empire's energy. When independence came in 1960, the deal stayed. France built reactors and cities. Niger was left with holes in the ground. The mines bled dust laced with radiation. The desert winds carried sickness into the lungs of miners. Children played in sand that glowed under certain light. And still at night the desert remained dark. Imagine. The very mineral that lights the Louvre cannot light a single bulb in the miner's home. Now in 2025, uranium is no longer just France's secret lifeline. China wants it for its reactors. Russia eyes it for leverage. The West calls it strategic security. But in Niger, it is still the sleeping fire, and the fight for it is a fight for power. The recent coup was not only about politics, but about who controls the fire beneath the sand.
Matt, there have been 8 coups in Africa since 2020, 6 of them in former French colonies. Now, the French have remained much more involved in their colonies than, for example, the British have. And there's been this surge of anti-French resentment, mainly amongst young people, many of whom have supported these coups. Now, that's gone on at the same time as 2 other things. First, jihadi groups, Islamic State and Al-Qaeda gaining ground in Sahelian countries, and also Russia looking for new allies, partly because it's lost so many because of the war in Ukraine. That means that Russia is here in this part of Africa looking to increase its influence. So the coup here in Niger, it's not just something that happens in Africa. This has global implications.
In the 1960s, a kilogram of uranium sold for less than the price of a dinner in Paris. Today, as nuclear power rises again, its value climbs into the hundreds, and in times of crisis, far higher. Yet for the villagers in Arlit, the only rising numbers are the cases of illness, and the promises never kept. In 1971, under the scorching sun of northern Niger, the town of Arlit was transformed into a mining hub almost overnight. French state-owned Areva, now called Orano, moved in with convoys of trucks, security forces and engineers. The uranium flowed steadily north to Marseille, then into the heart of France's nuclear network. But while France's EDF, Électricité de France, powered up its first wave of nuclear plants in the 1970s, Niger's electrification rate remained below 5%. Paris had a nuclear dream. Niamey had a generator that ran only when there was fuel. By the early 2000s, whispers of dissent were growing. The Tuareg rebellions of 1990 and 2007 weren't just about cultural rights, they were about resources. Fighters demanded that uranium profits stay in Niger, not in Paris. The Nigerian government, often backed by French military advisors, labeled them bandits. But the rebels called themselves guardians of the sand. In 2010, President Mamadou Tanja was overthrown in a coup after disputes over uranium contracts. France denied involvement, but the timing was too precise for some to believe it was coincidence. Fast forward to July 26, 2023, soldiers in Niamey seized power, ousting President Mohamed Bazoum. The streets filled with chants of a bas la France. Down with France! Crowds waved Nigerian flags alongside Russian ones, a symbolic slap to the old colonial master. The new junta suspended uranium exports to France for weeks, shaking the Eurozone's nuclear market.
C'est des actions ponctuelles, c'est pas une épidémie. C'est des actions salvatrices qui viennent à temps pour mettre une fin à quelque chose que le peuple décrit.
But the military weren't elected by the people of Niger.
Oui, il n'y a pas d'élection. Il y a une légitimité.
Mais il y a un coup d'État.
Mais c'est légitime.
Pourquoi?
Mais parce que c'est légitime, c'est le peuple qui le veut.
Energy analysts in London warned that a prolonged halt could darken parts of France's grid. Meanwhile, in Arlit, miners wondered if they'd finally see change, or just another flag over the same empty promises. Niger supplies roughly 25% of the European Union's uranium imports. 1 kilogram of enriched uranium today can sell for over $130, but in the 1970s, Niger was paid the equivalent of $1.02 per kilogram in raw form. Adjusted for inflation, that's theft written in contracts. The health cost is harder to measure. Reports by Greenpeace and CRIIRAD documented radiation levels in Arlit 500 times higher than safe limits. Locals drank from wells contaminated by mine tailings. The companies dismissed it as within acceptable range. And uranium is only one chapter of Niger's story. Beneath its deserts also lie coal, gold, and oil reserves, yet the nation ranks among the poorest on earth. It is the cruel paradox that repeats across Africa. The more valuable the soil, the poorer the people. From Congo's cobalt powering smartphones to Ghana's gold adorning foreign vaults, the pattern is the same. Wealth flows out, suffering stays in, and so the paradox burns on, a continent rich enough to light the world but left in shadow. France's monuments glow in gold, Africa's deserts glow in silence. If the fire of your land lit the homes of others while yours stayed cold, what would you call it? Trade or theft? History will have its answer, but tonight the lights in Paris still shine, and Niger's desert still waits in the dark. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. Your support means the world to me as I keep bringing you powerful and inspiring stories.